should all have come for. This next one. Kyle is going to be presenting Club Marketing 101, but he's going to be presenting it to the area and division directors so that you can help clubs with their marketing plan. He's going to talk at almost every TLI, with the exception of Fairbanks, doing Club Marketing 101 from the club's point of view, and this is the kind of thing that you can do. So by the end of middle of July, all the clubs that have attended TLIs will have seen this. You will have seen it. I absolutely believe that if you have a club marketing plan and you follow through on it, you have to be successful. This is the strongest thing I can say. So please help me welcome Kyle Hall.
Where are they? Where are they? We've got this open house. We've got speakers ready. We've got food. Where are the guests? Have you been to an open house like that? You put it together and no one showed up, or in my case, one person showed up for the food. They had no intention of joining, but they knew there was free food, so they showed up. I've been a part of open houses or other membership building events that we thought we did a decent job and no one showed up, or in one case, we knew we didn't have time to put up flyers, but we sent out press releases and put stuff on the public calendar. 20 guests showed up. None joined. None joined. What are we doing wrong? Well, a lot of our clubs, some of my clubs included, are not doing the marketing, not doing our marketing right, and our clubs are not impressing the guests sufficiently. Now, I thought I understood club marketing. When I was an area director, I spent a year basically looking at how do clubs run open houses successfully, and I put together a presentation which I was giving at TLIs then about how to plan a membership building event. And I thought I understood club marketing, and then I heard Lance Miller present. Now, if you know who Lance Miller is, he's a 2005 world champion in public speaking, but before he was that, he was a member of a club in LA, and they took, and at this time, the TI, not only the DCP program, Distinguished Club Program, was a little different, and they actually rated clubs from 1 to however many thousand clubs they had, and he took his club from somewhere down at the bottom and 5 members to 4th in the world, and 95 members. He and his team did that. Now, he completely shattered my idea of club marketing and remade it anew. And I want to talk to you today about what we need to do about club marketing. The first thing I want you to do, section 5 in your book is these 2 pages. Section 5. We're just going to be dealing mostly with page 1 today. The second page is there for you to see it as an example. We'll talk about it. And Madam Timer, can I have 40, 50, and 58 minutes?
40, 50, and 58.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So at 40, I want to move over to Q&A, but I'm going to present to you for a little bit. So if you look, the first thing I want you to think about is the district bought a bunch of Lance Miller CDs, 2 different CD packages, how to promote your club and how to create a championship club. The current area directors and division directors should have those. Those should be moving on to you as the incoming area and division directors. If you have not discussed that with your outgoing area director or division director, do so. Those CDs are district property. They should be moving on to you. I hope you will listen to them. I hope you will loan them out to your clubs, especially the white one, the How to Promote a Club. I have listened to that. I bought my own copies, and I've been listening to that one in the car driving around, because every time I listen to it, I hear something new. It's great material, and I promote it. Well, I get no money from it. And if you read the View, I promoted them in there too. If you look at the timeline across the top of this page, we talk a lot about marketing clubs. Maybe not enough, and I think not intelligently enough, but we talk a lot about marketing clubs. And then the guest walks in the room, and really, do we wow them? do, when the guest walks in there, they go, wow, this is the place I need to be. I remember when I walked into Golden Bell Toastmasters 24 years ago. Now this was at 6:30 a.m. in the morning, on a Thursday morning. You gotta be a special kind of nuts to join a Toastmaster club that meets at 6:30 a.m. But it was convenient for me because it was in the building I worked in. And I walked into this club because I knew I needed to grow my communication, my public speaking skills. I didn't know what Toastmasters was, but somebody said go try it, and there was a club in my building. I walked in, and I went, wow. I saw somebody give a talk that was kind of motivational and was pretty good. At least by my standards then, it was pretty good. And then I saw a woman stand up and talk and tell the story about Puss in Boots. She was acting out the part and pulling on the boots and being really dynamic. And I just sat there and I went, wow. And I wrote the check. I joined that day. I couldn't leave that meeting without joining because I was so inspired. And that was a great club, and I was proud to be a member of that club for 11 years before I moved too far away to join it. So do our meetings wow them? Even if our guests are wowed, do we know how to actually get the guests to join? And lastly, once the guest joins, do we engage them? Now I'm going to talk about this not in the order I gave you. We're going to start with wow. How do you wow? How do you make sure our meetings are wow? Now you as area directors are going to be going in and evaluating clubs. First impressions. The programming, some of the stuff Phil talked about. You're going to be evaluating them, and one of the questions you should be asking yourself is, are they wowing me? And if they're not, why not? What will change to make this better? The club I'm in now, Squim Toastmasters, when I joined it 4 years ago, we were meeting in the basement of a real estate office. Now that doesn't sound so bad until you realize it was the basement of a real estate office. The ceiling was here. The ceiling had track lighting pointing in different directions, so no matter where you were in the room, you had a bright light in your eyes. The meeting was used by a bunch of different service groups and 12-step clubs and things like that. And I have nothing against service clubs and 12-step clubs, but there were posters about all the things they're doing around the room. It was not a good meeting place. it was a dark concrete stair down there, which was treacherous in the summertime. In the wintertime, it was deadly. There was no lights on the stairs. It was just a bad meeting location. They voted me in as president, and the first thing I said was, I would like us to find a better meeting location, and they looked at me like I was nuts. Because this room had the one qualification they wanted. Free! Thank God the owner of the building threw us out. He threw us all out. Somebody in one of the other groups slipped on the stair and said the word sue, and everyone was thrown out. And we had to go find a new place. We went to a restaurant. The restaurant was nice. It didn't work out for us. Now we meet in the dining hall of a senior living center. And it's free. It's a much nicer facility. Yeah, we have to brush some food up once in a while before the meeting starts, but it's a nice location, and it's bright, and it's high ceilings and light. So is your venue good? That's one of the things we have to work on. How do you evaluate whether your meeting is wowing somebody? Now you could do a moments of truth. And did Gig Harbor do that? Or?
We always ask our guests what to comment after the meeting.
Yes. You want to ask your guest's impression, and if your guests are going, oh, it was okay. Oh, okay. What you really want is a level of enthusiasm coming from your guests. Now, not all guests will express that. If my wife, who's in the other room there, if she was really enthusiastic about it, she'd say, it was okay. If she didn't like it, she'd say, well, you know me, I'm not into Toastmasters. So you have to judge. But you could do a moments of truth. You can ask your guests. I have a couple of other suggestions, and Phil hinted at one of them. You, as the area director, you're walking in and evaluating them. But let's say you're talking about your own home club. We get too used to the way our own home club is. It becomes comfortable. It could be a bad experience, but we're comfortable with it. So we need an outside viewpoint. You could ask a club member from a neighboring club to come and visit and pretend to be a guest and evaluate us. Or even better, you've got that friend you've been inviting to come and join the club, and they just won't come. Well, of course they're not going to come. You've been inviting them to come and join the club that they're not, why would they want to come and join a club. They have too many other things going on in their life. Ask your friend for help. Don't ask him to join, ask him for help. Say, look, we've got our club, we need it evaluated. Would you come, pretend to be a guest who doesn't know anything. They are a guest who doesn't know anything. Pretend to be a guest who doesn't know anything. And take notes on what you see, how you feel, how you're welcome, whether we explain things. Take notes and give me feedback at the end. That way, your club gets feedback from a guest, and your guest finally gets to see what the meeting's like. Maybe they join, maybe they don't, but you get feedback. So I call that Moments of Truth light. Inviting that guest to come in. And then, of course, you can do Moments of Truth. But the real question is, when you get that feedback, do your officers sit down, go over it, and decide to make some changes to improve things? So we need to make our meetings wow. Cindy mentioned meetings starting and ending on time. How often do we see a club that's a little lazy about starting on time and a little lazy about ending on time, or they just keep going until they're done? It drives me nuts. And especially, I visited a couple of clubs when I first moved out here. One club, they would not put an agenda on the table. Their agenda was written on a whiteboard in the back of the room so that the Toastmaster could see the agenda. There were no times, just who was doing what, and nobody else knew what was going on except the Toastmaster who could see the whiteboard. That drove me nuts. The club had a lot of spirit, but I would not join the club for that reason. We just had a person leave that club and come to my club, not for that reason. But when she walked in and saw agendas on the table, she went, oh, thank God. It's amazing what little details like that a well-run meeting will mean. Are your people doing manual speeches? There are clubs where every speech is a manual speech. There are other clubs where no speech is a manual speeches. I'm not a manual Nazi. I don't insist that every speech be a manual speech, but most of them should be. And do you do really good evaluations? Do they? And if they don't, what do you need to do to improve that? How do you get somebody in to train the club in doing evaluations so they can be good? I admit, when I joined my club in Squim, the evaluations were weak. You might get a suggestion or two for improvement from one of the better evaluators, but there were several people who consistently gave whitewashed evaluations because they couldn't bear to give a suggestion for improvement because somebody might not like them, or whatever it was. Or they just didn't have the depth of experience in speaking to come up with a suggestion for improvement. That's not the case anymore. We have some good evaluators now. This is the thing I want, the mindset we want, and this is one of the points Lance makes, is if you want your meetings to wow them, you need to treat every meeting like it's an event. Which means you have to start planning in advance. Your Toastmaster isn't contacting the speakers the day before, they're contacting them the week before, to start getting all their ducks in a row. You treat the meeting like an event and put it on. It doesn't have to be a grand event, but it's an event. And you put on some effort to make it run smoothly. Now, we wow them. The guest comes in and they go, wow. How do we get them to join? So there's a few things we should have in place, hopefully to make them feel good. Do you have guest packets? A little bit of information. Now, if you don't know this, Toastmasters has a guest packet you can buy for $2.50. It's very nice, it looks good, it's got information in it, and you can just buy it and use that. Now, what my club does, we buy that and we also stick a letter in it, written by the president, signed, and you can stick a membership application in it. And that way, guest walks in, you hand it to them. So $2.50, they get it. Now, if you're doing an open house with 20 people coming in, you may want to wait till the person actually expresses some curiosity before you hand it to them. Otherwise, you're handing out, $50. But that's up to you. Do you greet the guests? Do you ask the guests to participate? Like, I think it was Phil said, I once went to a club, and it was in Seattle. I was visiting a club. They didn't ask me who I was. They didn't ask me to participate. At the end of the meeting, they did not ask me what I thought of the meeting. No one introduced themselves, and they left the room. Now, I'd only been in Toastmasters a year or two, and I let them get away with it. I wouldn't do that today. If I visited that club today, they would get a lambasting. But I let them get away with it then. But do we do that? Do we get their impressions? Now, the last thing I want to talk about in terms of getting the guests to join. Do we say to our guests the 5 magic words which will convert a guest from a guest into a member? Now, some of you know what those 5 magic words are if you've heard me speak before. If you do, keep quiet. For those of you who haven't heard it, what do you think the 5 magic words are to convert a guest to a member?
Would you like to join?
Yes! Would you like to join? It is that simple. Would you like to join? I was doing a president's training in one of our TLIs, and I talked about the 5 magic words. And 2 weeks later, I got a call from one of the presidents who was in there and goes, "It works! It works!" I went, "Who are you and what are you talking about?" And he said, "I was in the president's training and we had a guest come in and I talked to the guest, and at the end of the meeting I summoned up the courage and I said, 'Would you like to join?' And they said yes." It's that simple. Why don't we say those words? Because they might say no. Then we might get rejected. Oh, how horrible. We have summon up the courage, we say the 5 magic words, and if they say no, we say, "That's okay, come back again." You know, it's okay that you don't want to join yet. Come back again. Come to our next meeting. Invite them back, have somebody else. Now, here's the next question. Who in the club has the right to say the 5 magic words? Anybody. Good. There is a club, I will not mention its name. There was a guest who wanted to join. The guest was walking around with an application and a check, coming to every meeting, week after week, trying to find somebody who would take the application and the check. But the treasurer of the club was busy at work and off, and the VP of membership had resigned and disappeared, and the other office was like, "It's not my job." 3 months went by before somebody said, "Oh, I'll take that." And they just figured out, they went and found the treasurer and dropped it off and handled it. 3 months somebody wanted to join the club and they couldn't. It's absurd. So anybody can ask. Now, if you don't know how to fill out the application, that's okay. You say, "Look, yeah, would you like to join?" Great. Let me introduce you to the VPE. The VPM, the Vice President of Membership. He or she will show you how to fill out the application and tell you how much you owe. You, as VPM, should be teaching your club how to fill out the form and how to figure out how much you owe. So everybody should do it. Okay, so we have a wow meeting, and when a guest comes in, we know how to treat them and ask them to join. Now it's time, once those things are in place, it's time to think about marketing. If those things aren't in place, you have to do those first. And by the way, under wowing them, one of the first things is requires club agreement. You may want to have a club that wows people, and the rest of your members maybe, I don't care. You cannot make a club that wows people by yourself. So if you're sitting at a club with a bunch of laissez-faire people who do not want to change, I would stand up in front of the group and talk about, "Hey, I'd like to create a club that wows people. I'd like to create a club." But remember, guests come in, they go, "Wow, I need to join that." And if the rest of them go, "Well, then go find another club." Go find another club because these people don't care. There's no point in putting out a huge amount of effort to make a club that wows people and that brings guests in and turns them into members if the rest of the club isn't going to help you. Now let's assume you have everyone's agreement, you've done that. You have a club that wows people, you know how to bring in guests. Let's talk about marketing. Imagine that all of us are partners in a mattress company, a mattress store. We've all put our monies together, we bought a mattress store, and we're going to market it. One of the first things we need to think about are, what are we selling? What are we selling?
Mattress.
No.
Sleep.
We are selling a good night's sleep. We are selling a good night's sleep. Our vehicle for delivering that good night's sleep is mattresses. So when we market our club, when we market our store, we're going to talk about, "Come buy our mattress, it's 50% off." We're going to talk about, "Have a good night's sleep. Wake up rested. Wake up without back pain." We're going to talk about what the person actually wants. Nobody wants to go out and buy a new mattress. They want to get a good night's sleep, right? That's one of the things in marketing is realizing what the person wants. Now, when we're a Toastmaster club, what are we selling?
Fun.
Communication skills.
Fun,
Self-confidence.
Better
self-confidence,
better communication skills.
better communication skills, leadership, camaraderie. Everything you said is correct. Everything you said is correct. The one that hits home with me the most is confidence. I've seen Toastmaster posters saying, "Come to our speech craft." Blah, 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 blah. In small letters, improve your confidence. One, nobody knows what speechcraft is. Nobody cares that it's Toastmasters. It should be, come improve your confidence. Learn how to, stand up in front of an audience. Learn public speaking. Develop your communication skills. Down here should say this is a Toastmaster speechcraft in little letters. Because nobody cares about Toastmasters or speechcraft. They care about confidence. Or, in some cases, fun. And this gets into the first thing we need to do. We need to target our market. Can we market to everybody?
No.
No. Unless you're Coca-Cola or McDonald's, you cannot market to everybody. So we have to target a market. Now, you run into resistance. It's like, well, if we only target, let's say we want to target small business people. Well, what about all the non-small business people who could use Toastmasters? Yes, there's lots of people out there who need Toastmasters. Everybody needs Toastmasters, right? We can't market to everybody. So let's market to this group for now. And we're going to let the other people, if they come, we're not going to just send them away. If a non-business person walks in and wants to join, we're not going to send them away. Well, let's target this group now. And a year from now, if this hasn't worked out for us, we'll find a new group. And then we'll target soccer moms. And then we'll target government employees, But let's pick a group to target and stick with them for 6 months to a year. Now, what are the benefits of targeting a market? Choosing a demographic to go after. And the demographic could be, as I said, small business people. Or even smaller than that, just realtors. Or, there's a club I know of over in District 2, they realize we have a large immigrant population around us that are struggling with English as a second language. Hey, we can use that. We can target that market, people who are trying to learn English as a second language. Now, if you run with that for a minute, how do you target people who are trying to learn English as a second language? Any ideas?
In their language.
You target it in their language. You don't give it to them in English. People who are immigrants tend to have ethnic grocery stores. So you're going to put up flyers, you know where to put your flyers up. You put them up in the ethnic grocery stores. They often have an ethnic newspaper, small local ethnic newspaper. So you put a flyer or an ad in the small local ethnic newspaper. You involve the leader of the ethnic community. You go and talk with their leaders and say, we'd like to do this, it would be a service to your group. Would you support us? Would you send people our way?
Would you come
Would you come?
as a leader?
Yeah. Would you come? Because they'll see you're doing it and they'll go, wow. And the point is, if you target your market, suddenly it becomes much easier to think about how to communicate with them. If you're communicating with small business people, how do you communicate with small business people? Chamber of Commerce. You go to the Chamber of Commerce or the local Rotary Club. You look and see if does my local community have a business newspaper or a business website. When you target your market, suddenly it becomes really easy. Maybe easy is the wrong word. Simpler. It becomes simpler to figure out how to communicate with them. Does that make sense? Now, I want to mention the creative and fun part, but I'm not going to spend any time on it. If we're going to do something to bring people in, you can download stuff from the TI website. You can download flyers and posters and things like that. And I don't like most of them. Most of them are pretty bland, pretty generic. We put up a flyer around Squim that I loved because we took a picture of an orangutan. The orangutan's like, he had this really frightened look on his face. And we put a thing above it, it was like, is this you when you're asked to speak in public? Okay, it was a little funky, a little creative, but it got people's attention. So feel free to be creative here. When you're putting on an event, do you give yourself the time to do PR? There was a club in Bremerton, we had a speaker in the area who volunteered to come and do presentations at open houses. And I was at one of his presentations. It was pretty good. And there were members from a club in Bremerton who were at that presentation. They said, wow, he's good. Let's put on an open house. Now, this was beginning of November when I saw him. They said, he's good. Let's put on an open house. And the officers went back and they said, let's do our open house in the middle of December. What's the problem with that? Right, it's when everything's going on, the holidays are going on, and they didn't give themselves enough time. Because even when you decide you're going to put on an open house, you need to figure out what your message is. You know, you're talking with a speaker. What's your speech you're going to give? Okay, we need to put a message around attracting people to come and hear that speaker. It takes time to do that. And then you put your flyers together, and hopefully you get all your club members to go all across the community putting up flyers. You get hundreds of flyers put up. How long does it take people? How many times do people have to see a flyer before it enters their consciousness and they actually look at it?
7 to 10 days.
Marketing studies show 5 to 8 times. So if you put a flyer up in a coffee shop, somebody has to see that flyer 5 to 8 times before they actually notice it and read it. Which means they have to go in and out of that coffee shop 5 to 8 times. So it has to be up there for weeks before somebody will see it. When I was looking at how to publicize an event, the advice is give yourself 8 weeks from the time your message is ready. You've figured out what you want to say, you put it on a flyer, it's ready. Now, put it up and give yourself 8 weeks. And once you put your flyers up, now it's time to put out your news releases, put it in electronic calendars, publicize it in all kinds of ways, put it on the local radio. But you need to give yourself all that time. So that means planning an open house, that's a 12-week process. Figure 1 month of figuring out everything, and then 8 weeks of public relations, of getting the word out. And that's to get people in and get ready for it. Let's talk really quick about measuring. It's not worth doing any marketing unless you measure the results. That's one of the things I believe is one of the things that marketing people will talk about. So how do you measure the results? Let's say you're going to put out a news release and you're going to put up 2 different flyers. So there's 3 different ways people could find you. They could see flyer A, flyer B, or they could see the news release. Now I have a cell phone and I have a home phone. And my wife has a cell phone. Okay, there's 3 different phone numbers I could use. So if I put my cell phone on flyer A and my home phone on flyer B and my wife's cell phone on flyer C, I can tell which vehicle is working based on how they call. Of course, you have to ask them to call. You have to request an RSVP. You know, seating is limited, RSVP. So if I get 5 calls on flyer A and 1 call from flyer B, which flyer works? Flyer A. Next time we do this, we jettison flyer B, we use flyer A, and we make up a new flyer B and to try something new. It's a very easy way of measuring whether your marketing is working. I also have 2 different email addresses, so if I want my RSVPs versus email, I can do that very easily too. So it's not hard to measure your marketing, you just have to think about it. And if you only have 1 cell phone, well, you've got 10 club members. You know, get a couple of them to volunteer to receive the RSVPs. And of course, once the event is done, so we've marketed our event. We got a certain number of guests. We've got a certain number of RSVPs. The event is done. Do we sit down and review what we did, what worked, what didn't work, how we can make it better, and adapt so the next time? Most of our clubs run their marketing events, run their membership building events like it's a discrete event. We put up a few flyers, we hold the event, it's successful or not, we're happy with it or we're not, and then we never look at it again, and we don't let it influence anything we do in the future. Unless, of course, it was a disasters event, in which case when somebody says, let's just do it again, we go, we've tried that, it doesn't work. We're not learning because we don't look at our results, we don't measure our results, and talk about it and adapt. So that's one of the things I want us to do, is think about that. Quickly, I want to talk about the different forms of marketing that are available to us. We have inbound marketing and outbound marketing. Does everyone understand what inbound marketing and outbound marketing is, or do I need to explain it? Raise your hand if you don't understand it. Okay. Inbound marketing is all about the internet. People are out there surfing the internet looking for something. And inbound marketing means you've positioned yourself to show up in front of them when they're looking for something. When they go searching for public speaking in Anchorage, is your club going to show up on the search results? If you've done a good job, yes. And if you've done a poor job, no. If you we do that by having a website or Facebook page or being on Meetup. I'll talk about each of those really briefly. Go ahead.
Do you have any data, hard data or anecdotal about running Facebook ads on
No.
a Facebook page?
No, I don't. And I haven't heard any from TI yet. I know there's marketing people out there who've studied that. I haven't paid any attention to it. It's one thing to be, it's worth considering, but I would want to seriously look at it and place financial limits on it. So,
Yes. Yes.
Run ads only to $25.
I have your 15-second answer about
Okay.
Webmaster. The deal about Facebook is Facebook has two things. First of all, it is growing in membership, and number two, it is losing popularity. The growth in the membership is older people, it's not younger people. So if you are trying to help Toastmasters get new, younger members, Facebook is not your place to go. That's the first thing. The second thing is that it is very expensive to do ads, and I don't think it's probably worth your money. Snapchat, if you want to do one, Snapchat.
Snapchat for younger members or Meetup for younger members. One of the reasons we're doing Meetup is it tends to be very popular with millennial folks. So really quickly, website. If you have a club website, do you keep it up to date? Is it interesting? Does the home page, the landing page that people are mostly going to land on, is it written for guests, with a guest in mind? Most of the club web pages I see, the home page is, here's who's doing what next week, and this is what we did last week, and this is who won the club contest. Guests don't care about that. They don't care about who won your contest and when your club picnic is. They want to know what Toastmasters is about. Do you have any information on that? Information for a guest. So I recommend you make your home page about the guest. And if you don't want to answer their questions, give them a link back to the TI website where they can get the information. But give them the information, and then take all your club member specific information and move it off into another page. And get rid of the generic photos from TI. The smiling people shaking hands. Get rid of the generic photos, because if they've seen your webpage, they've seen 3 or 4 other web pages, and they all have the same photo. And if they see the generic photo, they know you don't care about your website. Replace those generic photos with photos of your club members giving presentations. Get an action shot of somebody up in front of the club presenting, and stick it up there. And if you can do it multiple people, my home club used to have all of us standing around our banner. Nobody cares about the banner. A guest doesn't know what the banner is and doesn't care about us standing around the banner. The best one I've seen is an advanced club that has a collage of all the members, and each shot is an action shot of the person presenting. So there's 27 people in this collage, all presenting. That was pretty good. So I talked about the website. Facebook, if you're going to have a Facebook page, keep it up to date. You should be changing every week. The clubs that handle Facebook really well, a lot of them have added a new role to their agenda called Toastmaster. And the Toastmaster's job is to come up with a quip or quote or something fun from that meeting and get it posted. And if they know how to post it, great. And if they don't know how to post it, you have 3 or 4 people in your club who know how to post things to the web page. So if the Toastmaster doesn't know how to post it, you give it to somebody who does. And it gets posted within a couple hours of the meeting. If your members have Facebook, and if you're going to use a Facebook page for your club, tell your members, go out and get a Facebook page. And then find our club page and like it.
Review it.
And what?
Post a review.
And post a review of it. And then share it. When we put a good post up, a quip, a quote, or whatever, share it. Because your club members then become part of your marketing team, and it all happens very quickly without a lot of work.
Check-ins too, from your personal,
Yeah, check-ins.
your personal profile check-ins.
Check-ins. Okay, that's something I don't even know about that. So I mean, there are people who know more about Facebook than I do. That's not hard. But the point is, it can be a useful marketing technique, but you need to evolve the club, and you need to keep the Facebook page up to date all the time. So it means active involvement. Do not just create a Facebook page and then go, okay, it's up, forget about it. It's not just a website. Now we have Meetup. So Meetup is a social media tool. It's used by a lot of people, but especially by millennials, to find meetings in their local area that involve something you're interested in. So when I moved to Squim, I happened to look up Meetup and said, public speaking in the Squim area, and I found out about the Port Angeles Club and the Squim Club and whatnot. Your club can buy an account and pay for an account to put up events. The event would be our meeting is at this time and date. You can do that. There are clubs that are doing that now. It'll cost you, I think, $60 a year to have 3 different events. Or 3 clubs can share it, and each club gets 1 event. But what the district has done, the district wants to encourage younger members, the district wants to use this tool. The district has gone out and bought a Meetup account and set it up so you can now get your club's events online for free. If you go to the District 32 website and go down on the left-hand side, there's a Meetup link, and you go there and there's instructions. And a lot of screenshots, a lot of detailed instructions. Your club would need to create a Meetup page in the name of your club. So if it's a Bremerton 63 club, they would create a Bremerton 63 Meetup account. I had somebody send us a note saying, somebody, Bob, hey, my club wants to get online. Can you give me event authority? It's like, no, the account you're writing me from is Bob's Meetup account. I'm not giving Bob the ability to create events on the site. I will allow Bremerton 63 Meetup account to create events on the site, not Bob. So because when people come looking for Toastmasters, they need to see that the event was created by a Toastmasters club, and I don't know Bob from anything. So Meetup is there, and it's free now. So I encourage your clubs to take a look at it and investigate it. I've tried to make the instructions as brain dead simple as I can. There's 4 sets of instructions to work through. Now let's talk about outbound marketing. What are some of the things you can do? What's the single most effective way to get a guest, to get somebody to come to your club as a guest?
To speak somewhere publicly and mention that you're a Toastmaster and you'd like them to come to your club.
Second most effective way. First way is to invite them, personal invitation. Now, we get tired of that, and it seems kind of dull, and we ask, everybody we know, and then we stop. Lance Miller joined his club after having been invited by the same person 8 times. My now deceased friend, Betty Eisenzemer, past international director, who I knew over in District 2, she joined after her friend asked her 7 or 8 times. And then the last time, he said, I will come pick you up and drive you to the meeting. And afterwards, I'll take you out for coffee. So he had to offer to drive her and bribe her to get her to come. And then she joined and went all the way up through international director. So 1, we have to be persistent. We can organize our invitational process. It's called a membership, an invitation contest or a membership contest. And that's just organizing ourselves into groups. Now, why should we organize ourselves into groups to invite people? Let's say we had a member-by-member contest in our club. Now, in my club, there's one member who's a minister. He's meeting new people every day and counseling them. And this minister is the single greatest source of guests in our club because this person is always inviting people with communication challenges to come up to our club. And then there's me. I work at home on a computer. I don't meet anyone. Who's going to win the contest? But if minister's on a team of 6 people and I'm on a team of 6 people, okay, I have a chance. So break your club in half or into thirds and challenge half the club. We're going to have a membership contest starting April 1st and ending June 1st, and give out points for and you choose the number of points. Give out points for a guest coming, give out points for a guest returning, give out points for a guest joining, And at the end, the group that has the fewest points buys the pizza for everybody. You figure it out. But if you're going to do a contest, make the prize at least worth winning. I've seen clubs like, if you win our membership contest, you get a mug. I don't need another mug. On the other hand, if one half of the club is going to provide the potluck dinner or the pizza for the other half of the club, that would be fun. That's personal invitations. Now the demo meeting, the next thing you can do is go out and speak. That's what Sarah was talking about. There's two ways to demonstrate this. You as an individual can go out. You could volunteer to speak at the Lions Club, at the Rotary Club, Service Club, always looking for people to speak. Chamber of Commerce, you can go out and give a talk on something and slip into it that you're a Toastmaster and your club is over here. That's the way to do it. One of the other things I've seen clubs doing is going out and giving a mini demo. So they actually give a mini demo Toastmaster meeting. They have a Toastmaster, they have one speaker, one evaluator, maybe a general evaluator, maybe not, and a timer, and the table topics master. And the table topics master is, of course, the table topics master actually gets questions written by the audience members and uses them. So the audience gets involved and the audience gets to answer questions. And they see a 25-minute Toastmaster meeting. And this one club just does this, and they do it at the Rotary Club, and then they go and do it at the Lions Club, and then they go and do it at the Chamber of Commerce, and they're getting guests coming to their meeting to see what it's about. Oh, that was fun. Of course, they hand out literature, and they also make sure they hand out something that has their club name and time and location. By the way, do clubs, let's say in a small town or small city, need to market themselves? I was talking to a club president. Well, first of all, I was meeting with an HR director for the largest employer in the city of Port Angeles. And I met with him on Monday afternoon. And the Port Angeles Club, there's one club in the city, meets Monday night, so I hung out and I went to their meeting. And I was talking to the president, and he made an offhand comment. He said, "Oh, everybody knows we're here." I said, "Oh, really? Well, did you know I was talking with the director of HR of the largest employer in the city, who, by the way, is a former Toastmaster from LA, and he doesn't know you're here." He had no idea. And this guy wasn't new. He'd been in the city for a couple of years. He was a former Toastmaster, and he didn't know they existed. We always need to be spreading the word. The only thing I think I want to say about open houses, is there anybody here who hasn't been involved in an open house? There tends to be two types of open houses, and it's your choice which is more effective. I suggest you try both. One type of open house is we just spread the word. We're just spreading the word that we're having a important meeting or special meeting. If it's February 14th and we happen to be meeting that night, then we do a Valentine's Day focused meeting. We spread the word. And it's a normal meeting in your normal place, and you just do speeches and table topics and evaluations like a normal club meeting. That's one way to do an open house. The other way to do an open house is, let's get a speaker in that focuses on a topic that's of interest to our target audience. Let's get that speaker in, and we drag people into, because we've marketed this speech. Now that increases your chance of having a larger group of guests, but it decreases the chance of converting them into members, because they're not there to see a Toastmasters club. They're there to learn whatever that speaker has to say. Your choice. If you do not know what Speechcrafts are, go out to the TI website and look up Speechcraft. It's a mini class, usually done in 4 to 8 sessions, teaching people the basics of Toastmasters, and it's a great way for a club to grow itself if you do that. And we have people in the district who can advise you on how to run a Speechcraft. We don't have time to deal with it here today, but you can do it, and you can actually, it's also one of the few approved fundraising techniques that Toastmasters has. So if you have a club that wants to grow itself and is struggling for money, you can use a Speechcraft to actually raise money. You charge money for the class. Does everyone here know what a business awareness campaign is? Raise your hand if you do. Right, one. I never heard of a business awareness campaign until I read the marketing manual. Your club is sitting, let's say, in an area with a lot of businesses around it, as opposed to, out in the boondocks. Do the owners of those businesses know that your club is there to help their employees become better communicators and better leaders? Do they know you're available to train their employees at no cost to them? So if they don't, you go out in pairs. I always recommend doing it in pairs. Go out in pairs, ask to meet the owner of the business, or if it's owned by somebody remote, the manager of the business, and ask them for 5 minutes of time, give them a piece of literature and a flyer from your club, and let them know you exist, you provide this training, and it's free to, it doesn't cost the company anything. If they have an employee who needs communication skills, who needs leadership skills, send them to our club. Now, if you do that once, you might get somebody sent to you. But a lot of the times, the owners are going to go, oh yeah, these guys have just started up, they're fly-by-night, whatever. They're going to make all kinds of assumptions. It isn't until you've gone back 2 or 3 or 4 times over the course of a year that they're going to go, wow, these guys are still here, they're serious, they change their flyer every time. Okay, I'm going to start sending somebody. Because in the course of a year, some employee is going to do something stupid. They're going to have an argument with a customer, or they're going to fail in some leadership way, and the person's going, how do I teach this guy or girl? Well, send them to the club. But they have to know you're there, and they have to know that you're consistently there, that you're not fly-by-night. Where are we time-wise?
You've got 8 minutes.
8 minutes to get to 40.
No, 8 minutes till you're done.
Oh, I'm sorry.
that would be
I did, okay. Carolyn, you're blocking my timing card. I'm sorry, I didn't see that. Okay. Where is it? Okay, let's talk about small club marketing really quickly. If you're a small clubs, they tend to get fatigue. They get meeting fatigue, they get organizational fatigue. Oh, you want to do another open house? Okay, fine. They don't want to deal with it. So they tend to not want to plan, they tend to not want to target their market. That's the exact wrong response. You need to spend more time planning and more time targeting your market so that what effort you do put in is effective. Rather than putting flyers up all over the community, let's just go to the local real estate offices and put up a flyer in every real estate office and on every realtor's desk. Let's narrow our market and make our message powerful for just that group. Now, how do we know if our message is just that group? This is one of the most important things they can do. Small clubs need to do this. Big clubs should do it, but small clubs need to do this. Test. Let's say you want to attract those realtors. You put your flyer together with a message. Do not post the flyer anywhere. Do not send out news releases until you sit down with a realtor and say, see this? Would this drag you into our room? If you saw this flyer, would you come and visit us? And if they say, yeah, then you need to change the flyer. Your message isn't good. If you're thinking of targeting realtors, before you even get going, go and have a chat with a realtor, maybe the head of the realtor association, and say, well, we'd like to do this. Can we bring our flyer to you and would you give us your opinion of it? Hopefully they say yes. We'll buy you coffee. We'll take you out to dinner. Bribe them. But you need to be able to test beforehand. And once you have something, they go, oh yeah, I'd come to that. Okay, now we put that up. Now the other one that small clubs need to do, big clubs should do it, but small clubs need to do it, is partner with a larger organization. Let's go back to the realtor idea. You're going to go after all the realtors in your area. So you go to the head of the local realtor association and you say, how can we help you and your realtors be more effective? We focus on public speaking and leadership. How can we help you be more effective? Oh, well, I've got a lot of realtors who are having a real hard time showing houses. They need skills speaking in front of small groups. Oh, public speaking skills? Gee, we can help with that. You talk with them, you partner with them, and you look, we'll put together the event, we'll host the event, we'll provide the speakers if you'll help us publicize it and get your people in. You partner with them. You can do the same thing if you want to focus on small business people. You do the same thing with the Chamber of Commerce or the local Rotary Club. If you want to focus on English as a second language, you go to the Immigrant Association, whatever group it is, or local temple, local church. Partner with a larger group. There's a group here in the Tacoma area that it was a club being started by a church, but it's not limited to the church. So I think half the members are from the church and the other half from the local community. The church started the club, but it brought everybody in. So those are things that you can do to help a small club be effective. And small clubs, they need help. You're going to have a meeting, it has to wow them. How do you have a small meeting that wows people if you only have 8 members?
Bring in other members from other clubs.
Bring in other members from other clubs. Ask for help. You call the neighboring clubs and say, we're doing a special event. Would you guys come to our meeting and just be enthusiastic Toastmasters? You call your area director and ask for help. You call your division director and ask for help. You call the district. Because, especially, we want somebody who can speak on this topic. I don't know anybody. Call us. We might know somebody. We could probably find somebody. You give us enough time, we could find somebody. Now, item number 4, engaging members. You can read that as well as I can. We need to engage members and get them on board. The single biggest thing I think you can do is get them scheduled to speak fast, get them scheduled to do their icebreaker right away, and get them a mentor. If you can do those 2 things, you put hooks into that member so that they will stay. Now, what is this? This is an example. I'm talking about building a marketing campaign. I'm suggesting that clubs build a marketing campaign. They should think about a whole year, not a discrete event, but a year. Choose a target market. Let's just say realtors. I'm not suggesting you do realtors. Let's just say realtors. So choose a target market. Take something like this and plan it. Now, you can see the key code down here. So the orange are business awareness campaigns, where we're going out to all the local businesses, realtors, and letting them know we exist. We're doing the business awareness campaign. The yellow is where we review how something worked. The week after the open house, which is the red event, we have the review, where we review, figure out how it worked, and we adapt. This is, the blue one's a special event. So this happens to fall on July 2nd. Maybe that's an Independence Day meeting, because blue one. I'm not suggesting you use this. If you want to use this, great. It's a Word template, you can use it. But this is an example of how a club might plan a year-long marketing campaign. And you target the same group. So you do this open house targeting realtors. And you do the business awareness campaign, where you talk to the head realtor in the office, letting him know, if your people need help, we're here. And then you do another open house. Then you do a special event. Let's say Valentine's Day. Hey, Valentine's for realtors. And you just spend the whole year focusing on that group. And at the end of the year, hopefully your membership has grown. You've got lots of guests in. The realtors know who you are. And now it's time to change and focus on a new group. Now we're going to focus on the medical community in our area. We don't have a lot of time, but let's open up for questions. Leanne.
So, my home club is a core group of experienced Toastmasters. And one of the challenges and the feedback that we get now is from new members is they're intimidated by being an inexperienced speaker coming into a club with so many experienced members.
Wow, interesting challenge to have.
And so my question comes to, how do you have a wow meeting and not overwhelm people or intimidate them?
Okay. If you're planning a specific open house and you're bringing a bunch of guests in, I would suggest not using your best speaker, but using your intermediate speakers. Leave your best speakers to be the evaluators. But if you're talking about your everyday meeting, you can't plan your everyday meeting so that every meeting has an intermediate speaker and a beginning speaker. What I would do then, if you have a wow meeting because you have amazing speakers and amazing evaluators, and the new people and the guests are sitting there like deer in headlights, I would say, when you want something, let's say you want to be wealthy. Do you go and join a group of people who are poor trying to become wealthy, or do you go and join a group of people who are wealthy to become wealthy? You go and join the group that has what you want. If you want to become a great speaker, then go and join a group that has great speakers. If you want to become a great leader, go and join the group that has great leaders. And I would just use that logic up. Lori?
I would try to have your VPE make a schedule so that you're not building meetings that have all your experienced speakers, but have your meetings so that you have experienced and newer. And that way you're not always going, oh, wow, I can't ever compete with that. You have the icebreaker and you have the second speaker and kind of build out, look at your schedule so you can plug them in that way so that you're balancing what's happening in the meetings.
Okay. Alex?
This might not be popular, but this is the truth. If your club wants to grow, then it's going to make changes. And if your club members are not interested in growing and adding new members, they're not going to change. And the members need to be putting themselves out to being nice to newcomers. And that's the thing. And being nice to newcomers means creating an environment which the newcomers want to join. And so if you're always one-upping each other and giving your best speeches, my club used to be like that, and we worked really hard and changed.
Yeah,
and
that's
it's a very
not,
different club.
that's not our problem.
Right.
Oh, okay. But sometimes it is, and I've been around enough clubs where I've seen that.
That's it. I think we have a welcoming environment. It's that people maybe who don't have those base skills are not necessarily, getting them to come back to a second meeting has sometimes been a challenge. And following up with them, the thing is well, everybody's already so accomplished, I don't see myself fitting in there.
Okay, I want to make sure you get a decent break this time. If you have questions, remember Kyle's address is on the bottom of that, email address is on the bottom of that first page, and if you come up, he'll probably give you a cell phone number.
I think this is
How
on
many of you-
the other too,
Is
isn't
it?
it?
Yeah. How many of you have learned at least one thing you're going to take back to your club? Now, have you mastered all of that so you could do that presentation to the club? No. So if there's some club that wants that kind of presentation and you don't feel qualified to do it, where should you go? Kyle or one of the other district leaders. So let's go ahead and take a break and